Hello everyone and welcome to this week's edition of Business Africa. Coming up in the headlines, despite Guinea's stable economic growth of 7% over the past years, the country is expanding its investment opportunities in agriculture and telecommunications. Morocco is set to play a leading role in oil and gas exploration in Africa in spite of its drawbacks in its global positioning efforts. Solar energy appears a plausible alternative to the power cut situation faced by many mining companies in Africa. We'll tell you more. After a fairly satisfactory performance in its economic growth in 2019, Guinea has set a target of 8% by 2020. To achieve this, Conakry has put in place several mechanisms to further stabilize its economy. Basic infrastructure, mining resources, agriculture, and even agri-food are all sectors that the country is currently exploring. Erika and Ignacio Sano have more.
With an estimated GDP of $10.49 billion and a foreign debt of $2.5 billion or 21.7% of its GDP, the Guinean economy still hopes to continue to show positive growth rates. To achieve this, Conakry is committed to diversifying its economy, which depends on mining resources for more than 75% of its exports. The government hopes to earn more revenue by investing in key sectors such as trade and agriculture, which provides income for 57% of rural households and employs 52% of the workforce. The trade sector already contributes 30 to 35% of GDP, with a positive trade balance since 2017. This could tip the trade balance in Conakry's favor as economists predict a 20% increase in the export of agri-food products such as meat, poultry and vegetable oils by 2020. Tertiary sectors such as tourism will not be overlooked. And to carry out this diversification program, the government is counting on reforms in domestic trade standards and the implementation of the Continental African Free Trade Area.
Let's find out more about the latest economic developments in the country and the Guinean minister in charge of investments and public-private partnership, Gabriel Curtis, tells us more. Thanks for joining us on the program this day.
Hello, Amel. It's a pleasure speaking to you on this program today.
Well, while many African countries are expanding investment opportunities in other areas, how would you gauge your country's choices of investments over the past years?
The mining sector in Guinea saw an investment of $10 billion, which was mostly foreign direct investments, but also in other sectors such as the telecoms, where $300 million have been invested over the last 8 years. We also have the tourism sector, where $247 million have been invested. Also, we have the energy sector, which has seen some investments, foreign contributions in the form of P3s. Between 2010 and 2020, Guinea will increase its energy production tenfold, thanks in particular to the two dams, the Caleta Dam and the soon-to-be-opened Suapiti Dam in September 2020. These figures speak for themselves. Look at the growth rates. For example, since 2016, we have recorded more than 10% economic growth in 2016 and 2017. These are IMF figures, and between 6 and 7% for 2018 and 2019. And for the 2020 figures, we expect a growth rate of between 6 to 7% of Guinea's GDP, which means that the economy is growing rapidly.
Ce qui veut dire que l'économie est en croissance.
So how is the government planning to make agriculture more appealing to the huge young unemployed workforce in the country?
Il faut savoir qu'il y a une politique volontariste.
But it is important to note that there's a voluntarist policy on the part of the Guinean authorities. And first of all, the President of the Republic and the Ministry of Agriculture to help and support the national Guinean agricultural production. An effort has been made in particular with the fertilizers that have been subsidized and given to the peasant farmers, and the infrastructure that have been put in place to help agriculture. As we can see, Guinea, which used to produce practically no cashew nuts, now has an annual production of more than 250,000 tons. The revival of the coffee-cocoa sectors is also an area we are looking at. Now, we are starting to focus on sesame, not to mention food crops and rice. Rice production has increased to more than 1 million tons, and structuring projects that are also in place, such as the transformation zones.
Gathering from what you have said, is Guinea not overly depending on mining, or there are other plans to improve other sectors?
Nous avons des secteurs que nous estimons qui vont être des secteurs.
We have sectors that we believe will be the driving force for the country's economic development by 2040. So, as I talked earlier, energy, agriculture, but also infrastructure, the mines, in which Guinea is known for. But more importantly, information and communications technology, and everything that forms part of the digital economy occupies an important place. And you know, in April, Guinea will host the Transform Africa Forum from the 21st to 23rd, which will prove that digital technology plays a prominent role in the economic development of the country. The application of digital technology is being done at all levels. For example, in agriculture, we have set up a platform called Kobiri that allows farmers to use and share pottery equipment. And through this platform, they can do so thanks to an application they have on their phone. And very soon, we are preparing a policy for startups to help startups grow in our country.
Thank you very much, Gabriel Curtis, for your time this day. That was Gabriel Curtis, the Minister in charge of Investment and Public-Private Partnership in Guinea.
I would like to thank you for giving us the opportunity to point out how our country, Guinea, is moving forward in the right direction.
After the break, we will take you to Morocco. The country is intensifying efforts to position itself as a global player in the mining industry. Stay with us.